Well, welcome to a new Harry's Garage video, and this one is going to be all about my Paris Dakar bike collection. Now, I've already done a video on the collection and its links to the actual Dakar races and why I've got these particular bikes in the collection. And at the end of that video, I'm going to put a link up there if you haven't watched it, but it's done 500,000 views, which amazed me. I said I was going to ride each individual bike and tell you a bit more about the bikes themselves and how they behave off-road, and I never did it. So I'm going to put that right by taking each bike in turn and telling you a bit more about the bikes, and then we'll go out on the farm down a little loop and come back and you'll know a bit more about each individual bike. Now, the collection has grown since 2017 because I haven't limited it just to the bikes that actually won Paris Dakar. There's 6 bikes basically that did that, but it's grown to a few more bikes of the bikes that actually competed in Paris Dakar but didn't actually win, and have some interesting backstories as well. So if this all goes well, I'll feature some of those as well. First off though, I'm going to kick off with the Yamaha XT500. Now, this is the earliest bike in the collection. This is first registered actually in just early 1979, but is actually a 1978 example of an XT500. And that's important because this is the bike that won the first Paris Dakar, the 1979 Paris Dakar. Slightly confusingly, that race started on Boxing Day, the 26th of December 1978. So it spanned the new year, the race. So that's why I wanted to get a 1978 bike in to be the same as actually took part in that race. And it's a lovely little bike, this one. It feels a bit more vintage than the others. We'll discuss a bit more when we're out on it. But it was only Yamaha's second 4-stroke engine. And in the 70s, dirt trail riding, as they used to call it in America, was getting really quite popular. And the importer in America asked Yamaha to do a 4-stroke trail bike rather than the 2-strokes that they were famous for. DT 175 I had, DT 250 as well. The trouble with a 2-stroke, it's great, it makes the bike really light. It's a really lightweight engine, it's got great power characteristics, but it uses quite a lot of fuel. And if you're out on a trail, the last thing you want to be worrying about is filling up, because there aren't very many petrol stations out on the dirt trails. So they wanted a 4-stroke engine that did more MPG. And that's what this bike was about. And being Yamaha's second only 4-stroke engine, they really went to town on the engineering on it, and it's a lovely little unit. All the bearings running roller bearings rather than plain bearings. They wanted to get the engine as high up in the frame as they could because that helps handling, so they made it dry sumped, so you actually fill the oil up here, and there's that's where you empty the oil out there. That made the sump really tight so they could get it higher up into the frame. The first bikes, 1976, had a downswept exhaust that sort of ran here and sort of got dented. So in 76, 77, I think they changed it to this layout, which is swept under and you don't knock it out. It's all tucked out the way. This one has the sort of trail tyres on it, which really suit this bike. Drum brake at the front. What else is there on there? Drum brake at the back. Kickstart only, yeah, that was a thing. This bike has a bit of a reputation for not starting, particularly when cold. Basically, you have to make sure you use the bike all the time and have it in perfect tune. It's got points and things. I find this one, famous last words, starts a treat. I love this bike because it's sort of in original condition, but perfect condition. It hasn't been restored. And I was a bit surprised when I bought it how much I had to pay for a good example of an XT500. I paid about $4.5 for this, 2015 I think. But now these are £6,000–7,000. So quite a valuable bike. In fact, I've seen them up for 10,000, the fully restored ones. But as I say, I like it just in this condition. And it's lightweight. It's 141 kilos about there, and it's got 32 horsepower, I think. But it feels quite lively. I just want to show you, this is why I say this is sort of a previous generation bike. It's got twin shockers at the back and a swinging arm, and it's got, compared to what we're used to now, if I look at this bike, this is a Beta 450, These modern bikes have way more suspension travel. That's the big change on dirt bikes from this age over the generation, is you get enormous suspension travel. You look at the distance between the wheel and the mudguard on there and on there. It's got almost twice the travel a modern bike to what this XT500 has. And they're actually lighter. That Beta is probably about 110 kilos and this is about 140. But to ride, it's a little gem. So what I'm going to do now, don my helmet, and I would take it outside and have a quick loop around the farm. Right, kickstarting the Yamaha XT500, make it start from cold. What I do, I always turn the fuel off on my bikes when they're in store. So fuel on, kick. I've got a decompression lever here, and I'm gonna just turn the engine over a bit like this. And then remember the choke, which is down here. Choke is now on, a couple of kicks. And then I've got to line up a white bit in the cam here. There's a little cam window there. There's a white, I hope you can see that on the cam cover. And then I kick it. And it starts. And that's what I find with this bike. You just got to prime it like that before you actually try and start it. And it's ace. Right. What I'm going to do now, I'm going to nip down the fields, and you'll join me a bit later once I've got this thing warmed up. I'll promise you that was not staged, that was stone cold out the shed, started a few days ago. Right, I've just come across the rape, oilseed rape. If you follow Harry's farm, you'll know what that is. And I'm just going to go into here. Then this is flagslack grass. This is really quite a steep bit of grass here, right at the top end of the farm, and it's lovely, this little bike on here. One, because of these trail tyres, I've got excellent grip on it, and it's just the size of it. It just feels like a powered bicycle rather than a big bike, but it's got some torque, as you can see. So raise the front wheel on this thing. Let's go around. Where are we going to go? And then it's got this turn of speed, which is just not what you expect of a 43-year-old bike, but it's just light and that ace engine, and it just, yeah, hasn't quite got the suspension that you want, but you can take those ruts quite nicely. Just got to watch these bumps on the way through. And then power up here. Just going to do one here as well. Not quite got power to lift the wheel on that faster job, but we're doing 50-60 miles an hour across there. I do this at this time of year. I make the most of the bikes before the cattle get in here, because they have this habit of leaving a little deposit quite all over the fields, and it splatters the bikes and drives me nuts. But just at the end of March, beginning of April, we're all right. And another really steep bit. We're not going to wheel it up here, otherwise I'll go straight through that hedge. But yeah, just the lightness and good engine braking. That big CC, if I point it down here, I'm using a bit of rear brake as well. Big step there. No issues whatsoever. I'm going to have to lift the visor because I'm slightly misting up. And then up here. Yeah, it's just the manoeuvrability. It feels like, because it's so light, feels incredibly manageable on sort of terrain like this. Just a lovely lightweight little bike with a monster engine, loads of torque. Flick it through here. I wonder how much air we get over here. Whoa, a big jump. Just fun. I've got something here I call the wall. Where's the wall? Here we are. And this is ridiculously steep. You're on all fours to get up here. You cannot walk up here. Let's see if this little bike will go up here. Here we go. Hey, up we go. Piece of cake. Whoa. And off we go again. Oh, it's great fun, this thing. I can't imagine doing 10,000 kilometres racing on it though, but that's what happened in 1979, and it came out on top. Flipping brilliant. Bit more open this field. proper steep again, but whoa, 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 whoa. Yeah, I mean, the thing about the Dakar, it still needed a turn of speed, and that's what I want to test next. There's another field that's made for it, and a huge amount of fun. This little bike. If it had electric start, it would be just about perfect. Right, I've got a speed test here. Big field. And I'm going to let rip in all of them. And I'll put a can out there and we'll just see how fast we get by the time we get to the can. So I turn left by this tree here. Right, let's give it some beans up here. There we go. It's not slow, this thing. Keeps on pulling. We're going to hit 70. I think we're going to get 70. Yes, we're at 70 by the can. Yeah, not bad, is it? 32 horsepower, about 140 kilos. Yeah, well, there you go. There you go, about 70 miles an hour. Hope that's given you a taste of what this Yamaha XT500 is all about, why it's such a legendary bike, how it won Dakar, that sort of mountain goat agility on the awkward bits, and it's like an enthusiastic little terrier of a bike. It's still 43 years on, a punchy little engine, pull wheelies, lots of torque, and ultra reliable. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you have, well, keep watching, keep subscribing. More bike videos coming along very soon.